Today on Know How.
It's a Thneed IoT, and Thneed is, remember from Dr. Seuss, it's this, it's a that, it's a thing that all people need, a Thneed. All the IoT devices, can you pack them into one thing?
Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
This episode of Know How is brought to you by WordPress. Reach more customers when you build your business website on WordPress.com. Plans start at just $4 a month. Get 15% off any new plan at WordPress.com/knowhow. Welcome to Know How IoT. I am Megan Morrone.
I'm Florence Ion.
This is a show where we talk about Internet of Things, the connected home,
The smart home,
the not so smart home,
the knows too much home.
yes, the giving away our secrets home. Today we thought we would talk about Thneed products, and I call Thneed because it's from the Lorax. And remember, they were making Thneeds, which wasn't necessarily a good thing. But it was a device that was a hat, it was a tie, it was a roller coaster, it was a thing that all people needed. And there is this trend in IoT toward the Thneed where you try to put all your things into one thing, which is great because we have a million devices, a million cords, and what if you could put...
A million accounts.
Yeah, exactly. We make one device do more than one thing, or more than 5 things.
Maybe 12 things.
Yes.
Like a dozen, a nice dozen.
So the first product that I reviewed is the Netgear Orbi Voice. So that is these two little guys.
They're actually pretty big in person.
Kind of big.
Just to not
steer
the crowd.
They're much smaller than for a mesh network. They're rather large. This is rather large. And that's because it's not only a satellite for a mesh network, it is also a voice assistant. So it has Amazon Voice Services, otherwise known as Alexa, built in. So if you're probably familiar with mesh networks, I use Eero at home. That's one of our sponsors. And you have the main hub. I guess you wouldn't really call it a hub, the main internet device, and then you have satellites all over your house.
Right.
And they look often like little Google Homes.
Nodes.
Yeah. But mine don't do anything besides spread out the internet, which is great, don't get me wrong. But so Netgear has this idea that you're going to extend your Wi-Fi and have a voice assistant and extend your wired. Extend your Wi-Fi and your wired. So let me show you this voice assistant, which it's big, but it is pretty, I think. It has that kind of...
Yeah, it's got that modern aesthetic.
So if you take a look, there's Ethernet cables here. So I love this because I have my routers downstairs, but sometimes I want to do a Skype interview upstairs where my desk is, and I want to be wired. I want to be connected wired, and you can do that here. I mean, if your house doesn't have a wired connection all over your house, which mine does not. So I really like this. It was super easy to set up. The Wi-Fi was great. Based on my Sonic Wi-Fi, that was where it came from. This is also a Harman Kardon speaker, so it's pretty good
boom.
sound.
So it's got boom. So it'll sound on par with the Harman Kardon speaker with Cortana built in, which is a great speaker. Great speaker.
Let's see if I can make it play music.
Here's a station you might like, The Beatles, on Amazon Music.
Okay, I see we're sticking to a theme today.
Do we feel like she's listening to us?
Yeah.
So what I like also is the controls on top here. I don't know if you can see that. It has this nice volume. So...
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Honestly, way easier than doing it on the Google Home Max.
We did not pay for this, so that's about as long as we'll get of that. But I think it sounds great. I'm not an audiophile, but it's I didn't mention they were gigabit Ethernet ports. And the other thing it includes, so it's not just the voice assistant, it includes Circle. So if you're a parent, you might have heard of Circle. They worked with Disney to create parental controls.
Yes.
And that was another device that I had set up in my house, and it was like another thing. But now Circle is built right into this network, which is great if you do have kids that you want to make sure they don't have internet access after 10 p.m. or make sure that, all kinds of things. They can't access certain things. Every parental control is slightly flawed, and actually talking to your kids and finding out what they're doing is the key. And I say that knowing that it's not as easy as it sounds, but Circle is a great little mother's little helper, mother and father's little helper in terms of making sure your kids aren't staying up all night.
Netgear's made a lot of family-oriented products because they also have the baby monitor, the Arlo baby monitors are very big, and so makes sense.
This device is best if you already have the Orbi mesh network, which is a great mesh network, highly rated. It's wonderful. If you already have it, it's great because then all you need is to buy the speaker if you were thinking of getting another satellite anyway, and that's only $300. But the whole set together is $430, which is kind of expensive.
It's a lot of money.
Especially when you think about like some of the other mesh networks are around that price, or they started around that price, but they have a lot of, they have many different satellites.
Well, and the Samsung one that just came out has smart things built into it, so it serves as a hub, and that's still cheaper than these two, and that comes with 3 nodes in the box. So, and a hub.
Yeah. So it's available at the end of this month, so check it out. And you especially if you already are in the Netgear family.
Yeah. It's gigabit Ethernet. Who doesn't want gigabit Ethernet?
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so I have another device.
Yay!
This one. So this is called the GLAS, and it's by Johnson Controls, and it's GLAS. And this was really the first smart thermometer designed with Cortana in mind.
Interesting.
So, for people like you, Alex, it has a beautiful translucent LED screen. It monitors your air quality. It tells you how much energy you've used. So we set this one up so you can see. I did not let Burke wash off the fingerprints. You can see if you watch the demo, you would not see these fingerprints, but this one was a real one that was installed in a real house. Now,
not a fake one.
Exactly.
Not one of those demo rooms from Home Depot.
Yeah. So GLAS sent me this. They were very nice to send this to me. And I knew that if I brought it home and asked my husband if it was okay if I set up another smart thermostat, I knew he would file divorce papers. So I decided that I would give it to Karsten, who is one of the producers here. And he is also married, but I don't think he has so many devices that his wife is ready to file for divorce. But I do know that after he tried to install this, he threatened to not be my friend anymore because it was not that easy to install.
Wow,
and he had his 14-year-old. He and I go by the rule of it's a teachable moment, so have your kids do it. So we do have a little bit of a video of Karsten setting this up in his house, or Karsten's 14-year-old setting it. So it involves obviously drilling, but this. I gotta say, this kind of setup is really, it's nice for kids to have to do that.
Yeah, you should look. I really believe in having the kids do this stuff because when I moved out of my house, I didn't know how to use a drill.
Yeah.
I wish I knew before I left.
Exactly. So it is very pretty. I do like the glass, and I like the translucent screen. So they got it working.
Wow, it looks so futuristic. That interface and everything.
Yeah. You can select what kind of air you have.
It's a full interface.
Yes, it does. You can work with fans. It has a little check. All this worked great. And you can choose your rooms. It works with different thermostats. And you set it up with your Wi-Fi, and we will not look at his password, and ask specific questions. And then there's a scheduling, which is great because you can decide, if everybody in the house wakes up at 5 a.m., maybe that's when you want the heat on, or if everyone sleeps till 10 a.m., you don't need it until then. Choose the temperature that's comfortable for you, and then it looks pretty.
It does.
And
set the thermostat to 75 degrees.
It doesn't look like your device supports that yet.
right? So we're manually doing it now from the glass, but that defeats the purpose.
So the air is good. Air quality, like I said, they're shoving a bunch of different things in here. Thermostat and air quality and energy monitoring. But it didn't, and like I said, it's supposed to work especially well with Cortana. And they didn't have a Cortana, so they're using the Amazon.
Ooh, that's a lot. The fun part about IoT is that you do have to update your devices.
Mm-hmm.
You really do.
And Carson was also super frustrated because he needed... Oh.
Whoa.
I'm Cortana, and I'm here to help you with your GLAS thermostat. I'll need your permission to help out, and then we can finish getting everything ready to use.
Okay. What is happening?
Your Microsoft account.
What is happening?
If you don't have one yet, you can set one up in the Cortana app on your phone or PC.
She just unplugged it.
So Carson was frustrated because it wouldn't take his Skype handle, and he doesn't have Cortana. So Alex, maybe I should send it home.
Yeah, I think Alex would get a lot of use from it, actually. Yeah. And I know Alex likes to cook, so.
Well, you should have your dad set it up for you. It would be a teachable moment. Or you and your dad could do it together.
Yeah,
Alex.
It sounds like a great activity.
Can you imagine using something like this in your home, Alex?
Well, I'm not a smart house guy, so no. I like an old, manual analog thermostat with a big crank I could turn.
Alex doesn't like saving money in his energy bill.
So this is $319.
That's a lot of money for something that frustrated Karsten.
Yeah, for frustrated Karsten. Karsten went to Harvard. He said what is, I think you've probably experienced this too, it made him feel dumb. And he didn't like that.
Well, and I also just feel like as much as the aesthetic is cool, if you don't have the functionality there, it's not worth it. And we're going to be taking a look at another all-in-one installation controller of sorts coming right up that is considerably, it seems to be along the same product line, but maybe a little more easier to use.
Maybe a little more brilliant.
Maybe.
All right, we're going to do that in a second. But first, I want to take a minute to thank our sponsor, WordPress. Now, I use WordPress for my blog. I love it. And just having a spot, having a place on the internet that you can go to, that people can go to find out who you are and what you do. Flo, you have a space like that too. It's great, and it is worth paying for because, if other places might not be reliable or they might show their own ads. Go to wordpress.com/knowhow, and then you can check out everything. You can choose from hundreds of designs to match your vision and establish your brand no matter how much design experience you have. It is hassle-free, which is key. When you're paying for a service, you don't want the hassle, and with WordPress, you don't get the hassle. You can they take care of the hosting, they take care of the security and the software updates, and then you can focus on your site. You can upload images, video, audio, and more, plus import and export content to and from your WordPress website. It's your site, your home, your content. I chose WordPress.com because there were no limits. It was free to create the ultimate online hub that was truly mine, with room to grow as I aimed higher. Grow your audience and reach new customers with built-in SEO, social media features, and marketing tools. With the WordPress app, you can manage your site on the go. So I can do it from my iPhone. Flo can do it from her Android phone. You can do it from a tablet. And you can launch your website with confidence, knowing you can get help from a 24/7 support team when you need it. WordPress plans start at just $4 a month. That is not that pricey. I'm sure you might spend $4 a day on coffee. $4 a month to have no limits, to have that space on the web. It's great. 31% of all websites run on WordPress. So it's not just us. Right now, you can get 15% off any new plan purchase. Go to wordpress.com/knowhow to create your website. That's wordpress.com/knowhow, and you'll get 15% off your new website. wordpress.com/knowhow. And if you're using WordPress let me know. I want to see your site. Send me a link to your site. I want to see it. Megan@twit.tv. I want to check out I like to know the people that are watching and listening and seeing our IoT struggle, what you guys are doing out there. So email me your WordPress site, Megan@twit.tv. And we thank WordPress for their support. So if you follow the smart home market as much as we do, you've probably for a while been seeing teasers for a product called Brilliant, which is a device that is on your wall. It works with voice and with a screen. They have a fabulous promo video that uses an excellent Beatles song. And I don't say that I love promo videos very often, but I do love this one. And we're excited to talk to Brilliant's CEO and founder, Aaron Emigh. Thank you so much for joining us, Aaron.
Hi,
Thanks
Aaron.
so much for having me on. Hello.
So I have the product right here, and we're gonna show it off in just a bit, and then Aaron has brought a bit of an MTV style demo for us. So get ready for another episode of Know How Cribs, because it's happening today here, harkening back to the old times. Aaron, thanks for joining us today. So before we kind of jump into what the Brilliant product is, why don't you start us off with a little bit of, give us your elevator spiel.
Well, it's not really a spiel. It's more of a story of how this came to be. And I had sold my last company and was taking some time to do some home remodeling. And I found something interesting because I wanted to put a lot of smart technology in the house, and I really liked the devices. But I found that the experience of having a number of them in the house was pretty poor. I was not enjoying the experience of interacting with the house because I had to be using an app on my smartphone to dim the lights or to lock the door or anything like that. And that seemed very strange and artificial. And house guests or kids who don't have phones can't actually use the house. And that didn't seem like a big step forward. And I started thinking, well, where do I want to be able to control the house? And the light switch seemed like a natural point to do that from. I knew that it was important to have the ability to control the home from anywhere that you were in the house, and that anybody should be able to do it. There's a light switch in every room, so it gives you that kind of ubiquity. And it's got power running to it, so you don't have to have cords running around or replace batteries. And it's the home control that you already use the most. So it's natural to overload that and give it new kinds of capabilities to control everything else that's in the house. And finally, it controls the lights. And smart lighting is one of the big things that people want out of a smart home. And I felt the solutions there were also not that great. So it was a pretty natural thing to do. And then when we got into it, we realized how hard it is to do a product like that with power electronics and simplifying the user experience and so on. So we've been working on it for about 3 years and just launched it this last week. So it's an exciting time for us.
So I've got it here in my hand, obviously not installed because this is not installed in my house yet. That's coming soon from me, but I figured, Aaron, since I have you could talk about the product and tell us what we're looking at here and what it is that I'm holding. So this is just the front panel, right?
That's right. It comes in two pieces. There's a front panel like that, and then there's a back panel which has all of the power electronics in it. It's also got a light switch button that you can use in an emergency if you have a toddler with a hammer that's smashed your device and you're waiting for replacement.
You thought of the didn't you?
Well, we try to make it as practical as possible.
Yeah.
It comes in 4 different models because the one you've got there replaces a single light switch, but we also make models that replace a row of 2, 3, or 4 light switches, which you often have in a house. It was important to us that you can put it anywhere that you want to have a light switch. It's also compatible with standard 3-way wiring, so if you have other switches on the circuit, we coexist with them. And what it does is it gives you touch and voice control over all of the smart devices throughout your house from any room in the house that you want to put one in. So you can control the lights, you can control your music through a Sonos player, you can control a thermostat with Nest or Ecobee or Honeywell. You can control any kind of smart device that you have. We have a lot of different integrations, and we're rolling out new ones every week. So it's a sort of a new kind of approach there. It also has Alexa built right into it. So you can speak to Amazon Voice Services from anywhere in your house, and you don't need an Echo or an Echo Dot or anything. We'll respond directly to it and give you a visual response to your questions as well.
So Aaron and I, we talked on the phone a little bit recently because I was interested in reviewing this product for a client and bring it here on the show, of course. And Aaron, we were talking a lot about how the idea behind the Brilliant switch panel, what product category? Switch?
We call it a
controller. Okay, so the point of the Brilliant controller was to help sort of solve the problem of we now have fragmentation already in the IoT world because so many different standards have come out. There's not really a standardization of those standards, and there's different assistants now. And so, how is the Brilliant going to help people be brilliant about the different platforms in their home?
Yeah, well, there's several aspects to that. The first is putting the control everywhere, making it always available. The second is unifying all the devices into a single coherent user experience. We really want to elevate that experience of using the house. It doesn't make sense if you have a different UI and a different app for your lights than you have for your lock, than you have for your doorbell, than you have for your thermostat, and so on. It just makes sense to put these things together and then also to build them into the wall of the house. We feel like if it's your personal device, nobody else has access to it, only you get to control it. When you build things into the wall of the house, they become a much more integrated part of the home, both physically and conceptually. Physically, obviously, it's built into the wall, but also, when you have, for example, the ability to play music from anywhere in your house, right on the walls, more people in the house will do it. It's not just one person who's configured their account. Everyone in the house starts playing music. People listen to more music on their Sonos. It actually increases the sort of household satisfaction with smart home devices really significantly by making it so accessible to everybody in the home, and creating a simplified, accessible user experience. And then layering on top of that a lot of unique functionality, like you actually get a video intercom with the Brilliant control because it's got a camera built in, a lot of things like that.
Right, and we were showing that on the little product. It's right here. There's a little camera, so you can video chat people like the home of the past that was considered the home of the future.
Yeah, a little bit like it. Turns out some of the things that people had there were useful. We also have a little privacy shutter on it, so
that's right.
Just cover it up here.
And that's the two switch panel that you're showing off right now, and it comes in up to 4 switches.
That's correct. Yeah,
okay.
It comes in up to 4. When you have more than one, then these grooves are used to control the lights. One of the things we thought was really important is to keep natural gestures, so you don't have to go fumbling around with a UI to turn your light off and on. And with the single one, you just flick up and down, or it supports dimming, so you go more slowly and it dims on the screen itself. But then with the multi-gang ones, we have these touch grooves, so you don't have to go and look on the screen and select anything. You can just do it by touch just as easily as you do a normal light switch.
So can you use the video screen for anything else? Like, could you watch YouTube on it?
Yeah, we
this is a trick question.
This
is a trick question. I hope the answer is no.
Yeah, we actually don't support that yet. Maybe we could at some point in the future, but it's a small screen. It's not really ideal for media consumption. And similarly, the speaker that we have is really designed for voice. Yeah. You wouldn't be happy listening to an album on it in the same way you wouldn't with your iPhone, and for the same reasons, because it's a very thin form factor and there's not a lot of space for a big speaker there.
Well, the reason I ask this is because the smart speakers, like I have the Echo Show, which doesn't have YouTube anymore, and we've also tried the Google Smart Home speaker, and they're great, and they're very they are similar to this product. But why I dislike them, and why our colleague Jason Howell, who has little kids, had to take it out of his house, is because you don't necessarily want your kids always being able to access something like YouTube. But Skyping, or not, you probably don't call it, video calling, is a great tool for kids to be able to say like, hey, I'm home, or, mom's on a business trip.
Mom, get me some chicken nuggets.
Yeah, or like you're on a business, is it an intercom only for the home, or can you do video calls? Like if I'm on a business trip, could I see and talk to my kids at home?
Yeah, we will be rolling that out. That's not part of the initial feature set. So we're launching with it as a video intercom, and then over time we'll roll out features like calling from the to and from the app, and so baby cam and nanny cam kinds of functionality
or spy
as well.
cam.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, one of the
teenagers.
That's what the shutter is for. Make sure it's not a spy cam. Yeah, one of the features that we have is we're really a software platform. So once the hardware is out there and it has a lot of capabilities built into the box, we roll out new integrations and new features and refinements every 2 weeks. So it's kind of like a Tesla where you buy it and then maybe a few months later it knows how to park itself, and a few months after that it knows how to drive itself, and a few months after that it knows how to go into space or whatever it's going to do next. So it's the same sort of approach.
Do you have to have Sonos in order for it to be free to play music, or can you use other speakers?
Right now, we support Sonos, and that's a really great experience to have the music control right there in the wall and available visually. Of course, available through Alexa as well. But over time, we'll roll out support for some other platforms as well. Sonos has been the one by far that people have asked for and are using a lot.
Well, that's what a lot of people who have Sonos in their house already, the only frustration point is you can't use your voice to control it, or, you have to use the app often. So this is nice because you could use your voice. I presume you could use your voice and not just the screen.
Right now it would be through Alexa, but yeah, you can use that.
Still a lot more convenient than tapping into an app. Aaron, so you mentioned this being a software platform. When we talk about IoT integrated into one particular device or however, like a bridge sort of product like this is, the new marketing term that's sort of associated with it is that it's a hub. How is the Brilliant? Is it the Brilliant a hub? Is it not a hub? I mean, what would you like people to categorize it as in this large, vast world of IoT?
It's in its own category. It's not exactly a hub, although it does include a lot of the capabilities of a hub. But there is also a long tail of devices and of network protocols and so on that it doesn't support. So if you wanted to use Zigbee devices, you would use a hub and we would integrate with them through that hub. So we're compatible with, for example, the SmartThings hub or the Philips Hue bridge or other devices like that. So it gets a little bit confusing, but because we coexist with and complement hubs that people might already have, we think of it more as the control, because our emphasis is on that user experience layer in the home rather than just the raw integration layer, although we do a lot of integration.
What assistance, speaking of integration, what assistance can we expect with the Brilliant? Everything, I mean, we're talking from Google to Apple.
Yeah. Well, right now it has Alexa built in, as well as working with Alexa, which means you can either control it from Alexa or you can access Alexa through it. We also support not only voice, but the visual responses to voice. So you can get a visual response back to a verbal query. And we support the Google Assistant in that we work with it. You can control our lights and our devices from the Google Assistant. We have not yet gotten permission from them to build Google Assistant into our devices, although we certainly intend to do that. Other ones will be more on an as demanded basis by the market. I think that realistically right now, Amazon's Alexa platform is by far the one that has the best ecosystem and the most integrations and the most demand, and that's the one that people are asking for the most, with Google the clear number 2 and providing different strengths than Amazon does. The others are surprisingly far behind in terms of where they are in the marketplace and the maturity of the ecosystem. So we believe in a multi-assistant world. It's still early in the evolution of voice assistants, and it's quite possible that a third, fourth, fifth, or 19th one will emerge and be popular. Our strategy is to integrate any that people want that we can. So we'll be doing that. I do think the future is a multi-assistant world. I don't think that it's a winner takes all market. In the same way, you don't have only one friend that you ever want to ask anything. You don't necessarily have only one assistant that you ever want to ask. And
certain friends for certain things. Some friends you go to for financial advice. Some of them you go to for fashion advice. Some of them you don't go to for advice. You just go to their house to drink.
Yes.
and
that's Cortana in this example, by the way.
Yeah, when there's a voice assistant you can do that with, that will be a killer product.
Who says I don't already do that?
Yeah, exactly. So, Aaron, we had teased an MTV-style demo. So, do you have anything you want to show off on the Brilliant? I know that you have one hooked up behind you, and it just looks like a regular little light panel when you walk in, but it's got smarts.
Yeah. It's. I'm happy to do that. This is not a canned demo. It's just one that happens to be here in this room. So I'll just kind of
very organic demo. This is an organic demo.
Grab this here and see if you can see the screen well enough.
You could go in and out if you want for the real MTV effect, but
yeah, I don't think I'll be doing that. So, can you see that? Okay.
Can you turn the brightness up on that, perchance, on the?
Brightness is actually up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
there we go.
That's
we can
great.
see it.
Doing
Perfect.
better. Okay.
Yeah.
So first thing you see is it's displaying art. That can actually be art that's pictures of your kids or your dogs or anything like that, as well as standard art. If you tap on the screen here, you'll see, for example, the ability to control music. You can pin scenes onto that.
Okay.
You can see your playlists on Pandora or Spotify or whatever. You can select music to play.
Don't go breaking my heart. I like that song.
Why don't I show you some of that visual response? What's the weather?
Currently, in Redwood City, it's 66 degrees Fahrenheit.
That's pretty
sunny
quick.
skies. Today, you can expect intermittent clouds with a high of 69 degrees and a low of 56 degrees.
So you see, you can actually scroll around on that and see the data that you're interested in, for example. We've got video functionality. We've got the ability to access all sorts of stuff. Why don't I say someone's at the door and rings the doorbell?
Yes.
Right now, you actually can see a video.
Is this the Ring doorbell that you have?
This is the Ring doorbell.
By the way,
we can
Twit
even
sponsor.
unlock a door right there from that screen. I don't know if you heard that, but
yes.
it's just unlocked. So there are a lot of different kinds of capabilities you have. You also have scenes that are programmable, where you can do anything that you can do with the control. You can put it into a scene and just access it with a single tap or a single voice command. So a lot of different kinds of things you can do with it. And that's one of the reasons that as a product, it's hard to succinctly explain what it does, because it's really just designed to unify all of the different home functions together and then provide a bunch of services on top of that. So that includes smart lighting, as well as the intercom and video services and so on.
That was an amazing transition, by the way. Thank you.
I think the problem, the reason why we're struggling with finding a product category is nothing else does this. I mean, I don't...
Except an app on your phone.
Right.
Because I just think about, this is what I do with my Android phone, and it's absolutely... it's not a great experience, because my husband has no controls over the stuff in our house. Only I do.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. Yeah, I think if you want to look for similar kinds of functionality, although not similar user experiences, you'd have to look to the high-end home automation market.
Yep.
And if you look at things like Crestron and Savant and folks like that, you might spend $100,000 plus installing a home automation system into your house. And what we've done is taken that kind of capability, that kind of integration, and democratized it to the point that it can easily be part of a modest home remodel or a DIY product. We also offer it through that channel if you want professional installation and so on. So it's really taking something that's been available at the very high end of the market that most consumers never see, and taking advantage of advances in technology to offer it at a much, much lower price point.
I love the physical switch to turn off the camera. What else can you tell us about privacy and security? Someone in our chat room asked, how easy is it to turn into a botnet?
Hey, it's a fair question.
Were they asking that because they didn't want it to or because they wanted a botnet?
That is a good question. I am going to go with the positive and think that they don't want it to turn into a botnet.
Yeah, no, we take security very, very seriously. And, unlike, unfortunately, a lot of IoT products, this is designed with security in mind from the bottom up. It utilizes end-to-end encryption on the connections that it has. We've thought carefully about the model for joining a home and making sure that somebody can't join your home illicitly and you have all the right sort of authorization, which is always a difficult balancing act with making it easy to use and to set up. And we think we've struck a nice point there. But we take that very, very seriously. I actually have a background in cybersecurity and did some work with the Department of Homeland Security and the U.S. Secret Service on preventing cyber attacks and so on. And it's very near and dear to my heart to make it as secure as it can be.
You really buried the lead there. You have a background in cybersecurity. That's great.
That was actually my fault. I knew that. I buried the lead, actually.
I didn't know that was the lead.
Well, I mean, I don't know. Today it's so important, and I feel like a lot of people go into this market developing a product without thinking about cybersecurity. I mean, you know this, that many people don't. So it's great to know that you have
And then
that
we get
background.
hacked. Mm-hmm. And then we get hacked.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's an easy thing to do for a startup because it's hard to ship a product. So they're focused on the functionality and just getting that out. And if they don't approach that with some expertise already in place and an understanding of how to design it securely, then it can look like an enormous effort to make it secure afterward. But if you design it for security and privacy from the ground up, then you really have a leg up on that.
So I feel like we should let people know how much this costs and where they can buy it.
Yep. So it's depends on which one you buy. So the single starts at $299, the double is $349, the triple is $399, and the quad is $449. And it's available on our website at www.brilliant.tech.
I love that.
And you said you could pay for installation as well if you don't feel comfortable taking the panels.
Right. So if you're interested in installation and you're buying it DIY, there's a little checkbox when you check out that you're interested in installation, and we can refer you to an installation partner. It's also available through custom installers. So if you have sort of more of a high-end system that you want to be integrating it in with, then you should just talk to your custom integrator, and they'll be able to get it through distribution as well.
Cool. All right.
Thank you so much for taking the
you.
time. I love this product. It's amazing, and I've tried a lot. I mean, the price point is very reasonable.
Yeah.
I mean, to get under $300 for one really does. I mean, you're speaking the truth when you say it can fit into a modest home, and I love that. So
my modest 80s home. We'll see how it fits there. Since I'll be installing this thing pretty soon and configuring it for my hackneyed smart home or smart townhome, as it were.
Aaron Emigh, CEO and co-founder of Brilliant. Thank you so much. And Aaron also wrote an excellent piece, an op-ed, I guess, for CNBC about tariffs. So you can check that out as well, about being an entrepreneur if that's what you're interested in. Take a look at that too. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you. Real pleasure.
Thank you, Aaron. Also, just want to put there for the record that because Aaron is in Redwood City, that Redwood City's slogan is "Climate Best by Government Test."
Oh,
no one's quite sure what that government test is, but we take them at the
It's always in hovering in the 60s and 70s around there. It's the perfect weather. Anyway. Yeah. Thank you, Aaron.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We have email. I love getting email. I love hearing from you guys. So this one is from James. And James recommends the All for Hue app. Get it? The All for Hue app for Android because it gives him much more control over his lights. He writes in my bedroom, I can set the motion sensor to turn the lights on only if no other lights are on and use the following intensities. 70% between 6 a.m. and 8:30 p.m., 60% between 8:30 p.m. and 9:30 p.m., and 50% between 9:30 p.m. and 10:30 p.m. and a night light between 10:30 p.m. and 6 a.m. Also, this app allows the room's lights to only turn on automatically after 1 minute during the night between 2 and 4 a.m. for those occasional nighttime reasons that you need to get out of bed. Maybe you need to use the bathroom. Maybe you want a glass of milk, as we were talking about earlier. So now I'm torn between, he's saying, now I'm torn between getting the Philips keypads or Google Home Minis. Not sure how much I want to yell commands to turn off and on lights. And I really agree with this. I think that's one of the reasons that I checked out the Brilliant in the first place when it landed in my inbox, because I wanted a way to easily connect or easily control the lights in the house. And I have different ecosystem of lights. I have Sylvania, LifeX, and Philips Hue lights running at the same time. Not to mention a couple of outlets, Casa outlets through TP-Link connected through the actual lamps that I have. So yeah, an app sometimes is not the fail-safe solution for making this happen. There are switches out there and we're talking about them, but can only do so much.
Well, I do like the solutions that do both. I think that's
agree.
Really nice.
I agree. I don't like the voice-only solutions. I think those are really clunky, and I'm saying that from my own experience using voice-only solutions for the last year and a half, and that's kind of why I decided, you know what? Let's go check out some light switches.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to really be paying attention to light switches.
I use the Noon Home in my house, which I hoped was going to be more like the Brilliant, because I mean, when they installed it, they sort of implied that they were moving towards the smart home, because I do have the panel and I love it, and I can create scenes, and I can use a switch or I can use the Amazon Echo, and that's what I use mostly. I hardly ever use the app on my phone, but I do know that like yelling commands, it can be really annoying. But when I'm home alone and I'm already at the top of the stairs and I don't have my phone in my pocket and I'm not near the switch, it's nice.
I have so many Google Homes in the house that I can just walk from upstairs to downstairs and say my command, and any one of the speakers will hear me and turn on the light to the room that I'm going to. The only annoyance is that I have to think about it, and sometimes I just don't feel like talking, you know, or it's late at night and my husband's already passed out, and the last thing you want to do is talk to your assistant.
Yes.
So these are all things that are going to be figured out for us consumers. And, you know, if you have one particular type of light, check to see if there's a switch that you can buy for it, and maybe just go that route for now.
Yeah, but I do like that he's so specific about turning the lights down at a certain time.
50% is actually, for me, that's a lot of light. At that time, I go instantly 10% after 9 p.m. I don't want bright lights after 9.
You're like a gremlin.
Well, we got to get into the mode, like it's sleep mode. We shouldn't have the TV on. Like we're finishing up chores. You know, we can do it by candlelight.
Yeah.
You know, like the good old days. People didn't have lights back in the day. They had oil lamps.
It's true. And they could use the app on their phone to dim the oil lamps.
On their sticks.
Scott, we also got an email from Scott in Kentucky. Scott writes, I live in a building that does not have wired doorbells, so I'm looking for a way to see who's at my door. I can't really see through a conventional peephole. So the Ring doesn't require...
So it doesn't require battery, like a power line. So if you have access, but it sounds like there is no access to the actual doorbell wires.
Oh, right.
You could still use the Ring. It's just you'll have to rely on your phone.
Right.
To give you the notification. And maybe if you can hear the doo-doo-doo. But if you can't hear that, then you won't be able to know who's at the door if there's no doorbell.
Right. You'd have to have your phone on very loudly.
But for an apartment building, for instance, I think that could still work because you're still getting that video footage and you're still able to log that away. And if that is what's important to you, if that's the thing that you want, then why not?
Mm-hmm. In our old house, I had the Ring and it was set up it wasn't wired. I had it unwired. And it worked great. You don't have to charge it that often. And you can,
it's every 6 months.
Yeah, it'll let you know, or you could set a reminder just to remind yourself to let yourself know. And it's not bad. But I answer this question because I really I wish we had done more. We have only one more episode, and I really wanted to do an episode on apartments or small spaces, or when you didn't, when you had roommates, because I think that's a whole other IoT world. Because we're talking about mostly products that work in, when you don't have roommates. It's a family.
We live out in the deep suburbs. So we have room to do these things, but a lot of people that come to me for advice come from apartments or they're renters, and they can't do as many things to their houses as they would like. So in that case, also, you would think about maybe buying a separate chime for. So Scooter X actually in the chat room just brought up the Ring Chime Pro, which actually, Alex, I dropped a little link there for you in the doc kind of last minute. Sorry about that. But you can buy a separate chime if you decide that you want to be able to hear. And look at that. It's a Wi-Fi extender and an indoor chime for the doorbells and cameras. The doorbell's already not too expensive. I think it's like $200, and then you would just buy this and plug it in, and then you could hear the device towards the back of the apartment or the back of the house.
Oh, that's great.
So that's kind of nice.
Yeah, Ring's our sponsor. We said it earlier.
Yeah.
But yeah,
But in terms of it, I bring up Ring because they are also one of the most expansive smart doorbell ecosystems out there right now. There's not that many to choose from that are really as solid as Ring has been. So you can guarantee you'll get updates and you will get support if you go with a Ring versus maybe you find something cheaper on Amazon, which is always possible. It's always possible to find an off-brand on Amazon that does the same thing that you want for like an absolute fraction of the price. But it's not, if it's not reviewed, if people haven't said things about it, I wouldn't trust it. I wouldn't buy it. I only buy things that I know my colleagues have had a chance to look at, because otherwise, what is that? Except for that smart essential oil diffuser that I brought in earlier this season. That was purely just to show you the horrors that you can get into on the internet.
Oh, I remember the days of the essential oil diffuser.
I'm still using it, by the way. I used it last night.
You seem like it relaxed you a lot.
Actually, I'm using it for the humidity aspect of it to add some humidity to my face at night.
Oh.
It's very nice. It keeps me,
humid.
It gives a nice dewy look, in the morning.
Oh, yes. Okay, so now it's time for, is this our IoT? What?
So what I have over here, so actually let me turn it on. Friends, countrymen, I didn't bring the remote for this, and it is not connected to the app. So let me turn it on manually here.
Okay, like a cave person. Is it a teleporter?
This is not a teleporter. Okay. So what this is this is called the Dyson Pure Cool Purifying Tower Fan. It comes in two models, a desktop model, and this is the stand-up model. This is the TP04, if you'd like to know. It costs $549 for this one. The smaller one is around the $450 range. On the bottom, it has... Maybe I shouldn't be doing this while it's moving, actually. Let me turn it off real quick. So... Okay, it needs to calm down. So on the bottom, it's kind of hard to do this away from the mic.
Oh.
We have a HEPA filter.
Oh.
So this is the HEPA filter inside my house. It uses clay. The clay filters, they're like the really fancy kind. So it's nice and clean. And this is what the inside looks. And then up here is the fan that cools your room and simultaneously takes in the air and purifies it. So look at me, I just destroyed this thing. I didn't destroy it. That's how it's supposed to come apart. Okay. There you go. And as you can see, it's very easy to put back together. And then when you turn it on, it can spin up to 350 degrees around the room. So it goes, from one side to the other. Or you can have it just facing you. You just want your little area purified. I've been using it for the last week. I've actually been using it to cool down my room. And it's been great. It's been great too if you have a very, unfortunately, we have a lot of wildfires in California right now, and just opening your window in the morning to kind of let the morning breeze in means you're still letting in some of those particulates that are outside in the air. And it's been really interesting watching this. So what I'm going to actually do before we go to the overhead, let me get this prepared. Let's see. So I'm going to actually show you my historical data over here in the overhead shot.
I don't know if we have. Do we have that?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
And boop, boop. It's backwards. Sorry. It's a little hard sometimes to orient. So this is actually what my air quality has been like in my house. We've been pretty good. When I was using it earlier this week, it was actually a little on the yellow-orange side. But this is just to show what the air quality has been like the last couple of days. Let's see. So I haven't been continuously tracking it, but this is what it looks like. It tells you as you're using it all day. And normally when you're connected, there's a little remote functionality over here that I could bring up. Otherwise, there's a physical remote that it comes with as well. And there's a scheduling mode. So unfortunately, I can't show you the whole Dyson app. Sorry about that. But it connects via Bluetooth. So it makes it pretty easy to set it up in your house without, worrying about any complications. And I also it also has a little LCD readout on the outside, so you can see like what the mode is that you've set. You could see what the air quality is currently like. And it's just a really nice, stylish little air purifier. And the great thing about it is that I've been able to put it in my podcasting room at home, and the mic doesn't pick it up because the air is so quiet. And there's also a night mode. So if you maybe don't like white noise, you could put it in night mode and it'll turn off after a couple hours as well, depending. It does have a Albuquerque. Sorry, everyone. That's why I was going slow on that. It does have Albuquerque integration. Doesn't have Google Assistant integration, which I tried, unfortunately. So I haven't actually used any of the voice commands because I don't typically use the Echo. But I will say it's great just to have this connected device. I can turn it off with my phone, which is always a plus. It means I don't have to get out. Oh, and also it's one of Oprah's favorite things, which I had put in the doc as something to start out with, but I buried the lead again. Mm-hmm. So it is one of Oprah's favorite things. And, quite frankly, it's one of my favorite things.
Oprah also has a background in cybersecurity.
Yeah.
I don't know if everyone knew that.
Dyson is very known for its vacuums. They have great hair blow dryers now. If you want to dry your hair with a Dyson blow dryer, they have air purifiers like this. And not all of their products have knocked it out of the park. I know that they just launched a new robot vacuum, but the last one was kind of meh. So you don't have to think about this that way, though, because I definitely have noticed a change in air quality in our bedroom. It's a lot easier to sleep at night.
It's worth the rather high price tag.
Dyson stuff costs a lot of money, but as a person who I have bought both brand new and refurbished Dyson products. I've been very happy with the brand as a owner who's had them for the last 7 years. So I found it to be a good price. Yeah, a good investment.
Right, because if you don't want to be running to Target and buying a $12 fan every time it gets hot and then it breaks.
Yeah. And we have one of those giant old school air purifiers, like the really big ones that we still keep around because again, we have a lot of forest fires going on right now, and our air quality is not. It also doesn't rain here as much as it used to, so the air quality isn't as good as it used to be when I was younger. So that's why I'm investing in these sorts of products, because now I have to keep my house clean so that I have a nice little bubble of clean air. Mm-hmm. And you're also going to see a lot more of these connected air purifiers and products come out because, it's a thing it's a problem people are trying to solve. Mm-hmm. And so why not have it aggregate data?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so a fan and an air purifier.
Yeah.
So I think we learned a lot today.
Yes.
You can shove maybe 1, 2, 10 things into one device.
You can. Air purifier and a cooler in one. I didn't know it was possible, but it is, which is nice.
Yeah, shove all the Internet of Things into one thing. Fewer devices, fewer plugs. I want multi-use devices. That's what I want.
Pretty soon we'll be able to have cars that turn into boats.
Yes.
Right? We're still waiting for that.
Exactly. All right, well,
promised us.
This is our penultimate episode.
It is. Mm-hmm. So, and we're not leaving with a cliffhanger.
No, well, next week we're going to show off our favorite devices. It's the thingies.
The thangies.
We also discussed in a meeting that maybe they'll be called the Noes. These are the, or the Howies. the Howies.
And Howie Mandel's face is on everything.
Yes, exactly. So I think Howie's might be, we'll figure it out, but these are going to be the awards for the best IoT things
that have come out recently.
Yes, but then if we call them the Howies, then when Jason does his 12 weeks, he can have Howies at the end of his
also
and
true.
his favorite. So
yeah,
so we'll call them the Howies.
We'll call them the Howies.
And that will be next week. That will be our last week.
Yes, and we'll be wearing our fantastic award-winning outfits.
Mm-hmm. And hopefully Burke is going to make us some awards we can hand out. Yeah, so stick with us. This has been a fun 11 weeks.
It has.
It has been fun. You can watch all 11 weeks if you haven't seen. Catch up.
Forever and ever. You can just binge watch them every single day if you wanted to.
Yes, you can watch them on YouTube. You can subscribe, twit.tv/KH. You can find us on Twitter. I'm at Megan Morrone, and Flo is Oh That Flo.
No W.
No W. And watch live every week, 11 a.m. Pacific, and then one more week, and then you still have know-how with Jason, and it's going to be amazing. And I believe by next week you'll know. By then, Jason will have decided what he's going to do. I'm just kidding. He knows what he's doing. It's just been a secret.
It's a secret. We can't tell you. We're not going to spoil that for him.
And we'll see you next week on Know How.
Until next week.